this press conference where we give an overview of all the work that this company makes, RTVE, a corporation that wages in favor, not only words, but we'll soon see all of the information and figures, supports everything that we have, all the talent of Spanish cinema. We are the driving force of the industry, and that's why today, plus, we have the good luck and the good fortune that we've got the director of Televisión Española, Sergio Calderón, as well as the RTV CEO, Elena. That's why we're here and want to support it. RTVE this year has brought 9 films to the different sections in the film festival. In 2025, we have participated in 56 films. And plus, something else I would like to highlight that we feel very proud of, cinema, a film made by women, with 34% of the films in which we've participated on the Channel 1, Channel 2, and the marvelous platform, which is RTVE Play. Let's see a short overview.
Itziar chutas, Vicente.
RTVE y el Festival de San Sebastián.
Egunon! Eta gure bizitza hankaz gora jarri zenun. Beti gai honi buruz hitz egiteko beldurrez.
El cante flamenco es poesía. Si no entiende la letra...
El cine nos define, nos une, nos mueve. Es diverso, es original, es único.
Tú puedes capitanear a los abanderados perfectamente.
Nos conquista, nos enamora.
¿Quién eres tú?
Como patrocinador oficial, nuestro compromiso es cada vez más fuerte. Creemos en el cine y creamos cine participando en las mejores películas del festival.
Y solo quedó un cargo que nunca tenía sueño.
Y celebrando cada éxito.
Os prometí que os sacaría de aquí. Esto no es un campo de prisioneros. Aquí sois el enemigo. ¡Arriba España!
¡Arriba siempre! Si Franco quiere cenar en el Palace, cenará en el Palace por mis santos cojones.
¡Por favor, la guerra se ha acabado!
¡Fuck you!
El Carmen necesita soldados, comisario.
Una de las narcos más potentes del mundo.
Han enviado a alguien a por ti.
El mismísimo diablo. Nadie sabe cómo es.
José.
No quería asustarte. Solo quiero hablar contigo.
RTVE. Somos cine.
Pues como...
Well, as we were saying, we are cinema, and these days you've been able to see last night La Cena, Ya no quedan junglas, and today it's La Tregua. José Pastor, director for fiction in RTVE. La Cena last night was well received. Hi, good morning. Thank you very much for being here. The truth is, it was quite surprising. Always in a festival, the audience is in favor of the film. And to have expectations, we weren't too sure, but we perceived that the film, were quite impressed with the screening of the film. I think that in a festival like this one, to have films that are comedy, fun, and entertainment with a rhythm, certain rhythm that allows us to have a pleasant time. I'm not too sure that my colleagues believe, but it was very successful. They're still applauding now, by the way. Fantastic. I said last night was the premiere of the film, which we will put in cinemas next week. But this opportunity of premiering the film here with you and the festival has been fantastic. And then plus, because comedy is what's the grateful thing about it is you feel it around you. Everyone that was in the film theater got involved in the film and enjoyed everything that we were trying to tell in the film. It was exciting because in the screenings at home, you got a lot of friends and family members, but it was very full. There were a lot of spectators, that I'm sure didn't know the film. So therefore, it's twofold. It's a good yardstick to measure the general feeling of spectators. We're very happy. Part of the cast of that film is here with us. Elvira, Mínguez, Carmen, Balagué, Carlos Serrano, and they were there as well, Mario Casas, Alberto, San Juan. Those who have not seen the film, Manolo, can you explain what are they going to expect? The pitch, Manolo, do the pitch. Well, it's a story, first of all, which is necessary because at this time, given this moment in time, this type of comedy that we like, we've always liked, Joaquin Oster, and to the three of us, we are closely connected to telling stories this way and to talk about the Civil War and an event that unfortunately now we're in a moment of great danger because things are happening which are quite strong, and to be aware of this from the point of view of humor I think it's necessary. I think humor is a weapon of defense as well as attack, and I think that we have to laugh because there's a lot of tension around us, but without forgetting the truth is the danger that exists, of course, and to be aware of this. So therefore you're going to find a story, and the spectator is going to find a story that they're going to join. They're also going to raise awareness, and they're going to be characters they're going to connect with. Quite fortunately, to have this comical cast, they're not all here, but they're all excellent in comedy. They're not all here, but they've portrayed those characters that are so beloved. And this means the people, these types of stories and events, the people are the ones that suffered most. How did the film emerge? Well, it was a coincidence because it's a project that I've had in my mind since 2008. So therefore, an actor and producer, Sancho Gracia, who was the protagonist, he was Genaro in the play that the Santos wrote. Santo Gracia, as a producer, well, we premiered it, and he called me. He said, Manolito, we had a close relation. He called me Manolito because I was much younger, of course, and he said, there's a film here. And the truth is, I read the text, then I saw the play, and I gave it, at that time I remember, to Joaquin Noristelli and García Serrano, and over time we managed to make the film. Yes, we found Cristóbal at a given moment in life. Yes, we started. That project didn't work out, and Manuel said, why don't we look for something else? And he told me about this story, and we started to write the script from scratch. We're talking about 2020, 2021. Projects take a long time, but we have to resist. When is it going to go to the film theater? When is it going to be seen? On the 17th of October, it'll be premiered in film theaters, La Cena, if you want to have a good time. So don't miss it. A big round of applause for these three gentlemen.
Otra película, José, tú te quedas, que hemos traído.
Another film that we brought to San Sebastian and Plus. It inaugurated the cinema, the Ya no quedan junglas, a story to make up accountability with the past where the characters are at their limit. Please, Gabriel Beristáin, the director, Álvaro Ariza, producer, and Montaner, one of the actresses in this film. José, while they sit down, what can we advance? Ya no quedan junglas. Well, talking about what we were talking about before, that is to say, along the lines of always trying to find entertainment in a film festival. We think it's a film without any complexes that we're used to see always in Hollywood. Revenge, action films, like a thriller, tension throughout the entire film. But in Spain, we don't see these too many times. In this case, plus, we didn't give in to that Hollywood aesthetics, but we approached it from a local standpoint. It's shot in Spain. The rest of the actors, as you can see, are the best actors in our local star system. And we're the same. We need these types of story. We have to also make ambitious films that have action in them and rhythm. And in that sense, happy to be able to announce a film such as this, which has, with the distribution of Universal, with whom we've worked a lot in the past, a film that we believe we need. Who's Gabriel? Now that everything is well. Yeah, now it's me. Yes, it's me. But it wasn't me before. Well, that's it. I agree. I think the introduction has been perfect in that sense. The film has all of these elements, and plus it's a film that crosses borders and languages, and this is more important. People see those kinds of film more, and that we were interested to see we could do this in Spain. When I talked to Álvaro, and Álvaro realized that I had a big need to tell my stories as a director, because I've worked as a DOP in some films here and there. And so Álvaro said, let's find something, but you can't make a terror film or a B-rated film. No, he found the novel, and with the novel, No Quedan Junglas, which is marvelous. The novel is great, the truth be said. I read it, I said this, and I think it's just, I'm going to make my debut as a director and try to risk myself and tell a story. This is the film that I've got to make. And I saw it, and I loved it, and we started to work on it. We've talked a lot about it, and there you've got it so that you can judge it. But the film, I think, has those characteristics that you've highlighted, and a bit more, because the film also has its message, which is what happened with noir cinema, thrillers in the past. Not only is it entertainment, but it allows people to leave the film theater and have a coffee and discuss and to try to find different layers in that film. And I think in our film, it provides elements so that people can talk about it, so that they can find problems, that it's not only action, it's not only virtuous cinematography or excellent performances, because they gave me lessons, the Spanish actors, and thank you very much. The truth, it was my first attempt, and the cast is very great, it's powerful, and they've all taught me what I never thought I was going to learn. The truth is, it was marvelous, but it also has a message, the message so that people can talk about it and discuss it, and to give value to action cinema and classic cinema, so to make people reflect, enjoy themselves, and entertain themselves, but also to reflect on one thing. Thank you very much, Álvaro. What was it like to start up this project? Well, just like José said, as an ambitious challenge, and the action of Nalo Salvador Casas novel, which was the root of everything, really. When Gabriel de Los Angeles came from Los Angeles, he saw the novel on the table, and it's a very characteristic cover. It's guy that's got a tiger face in a catalog. He says, get the rights, and this is the film that we can make, if you get the rights. And that's how we started. And we went to Los Angeles after the flight from Los Angeles. Said, how much do I have to pay to make this film? No, it's going to be vice versa. But it was tough, because the casting, as you can see, is marvelous. It's a great cast. The one we wanted for this film, to fit in everyone's dates, was complicated. And Ariel Roth, for example, from the US, it was very satisfactory. And I want to thank Carlos Augusto for the novel. We have, and we're doing another one. We're very happy to be here with you. Thanks to Televisión Española, Universal for supporting it, and everyone who's with us. Megan, all of your colleagues are here as well. You've only brought me out. This isn't fair. Now it's your turn. You drew the shortest straw. Okay. Those eyes that were so shining on the red carpet, it was a pleasure to see you. I think, yes, at the end of the day, it's underlining what they said of disconnecting, to get into and to focus on something that takes away the problems that we have around us, and to submerge yourself in the story, not only because of, but also the message, not only revenge, that generates a bit of discussion, and that's what you want in cinema. Well, okay, we shouldn't miss this film either, Ya no quedan junglas. A big round of applause for everyone.
Decía yo al
I was saying when we started the press conference, we are cinema. RTVE really believes this. We also have a director, Sergio Calderón, who is pushing as much he can with the program. We have to wager in favor of Spanish cinema. And a big round of applause for Sergio Calderón. Hi, good morning. Thank you very much for being here, Ron. The truth is, as my colleague María Eizaguirre said, the commitment of Spain with Televisión Española, with cinema, is strong and it is greasy. It's not just word. Most of you have probably heard this in other occasions, but the love and the kindness we give to Spanish films in these last two times is turned into figures. I would like to talk to you about the evolution of the investment of Spanish TV in the last few years in Spanish films. The investment in feature films in 2023 was 19 million euros. The effective investment of Spanish TV exceeded 23 million, which is 21% more of what is established by law. In that same year, 2023, in audiovisual works invested and created by women was 8.9 million. That investment exceeded 23 million, which meant for all of us 172% more than what is said. Fourth, as regards the obligation investment in audiovisual works produced by official languages in 23 was to 4.5 million euros. The figure invested by Televisión Española achieved 5.4 million, which is a surplus of 19%. In 2024, we increased it. The obligation was over 17 million. Spanish television invested more than 24.8 million, which is an excess of 7.5 million, almost 45% more than what established. In audiovisual work directed or created by women for 2024, the obligation was an investment of 8 million, and the figure invested by Televisión Española exceeded almost 21 million euros, which is 150% more. In co-official languages, the obligation was located at 3.4 million euros. The figure invested exceeded 5 million, which is 33% more. And we continue to increase in 2025. The obligation was 19 million, albeit the effective investment of Spanish TV for that excess for this year was 22.5 million euros, which is more than 17%. Here, the figure that we should destine to films made by women by law was 9 million. But now, till now, we're almost 10 million euros, which is 10% more so far. Investment in co-official languages that, according to law, was 3.4 million, went to 7.2 million, which is more than 60% plus. Spanish TV, as we said before, defines that where cinema, our love for Spanish cinema, meets the social task that all the films can be enjoyed openly and free. And in this sense, Channel 1 and Channel 2 are consolidated as the big references in open TV of our cinema. Together, the most of Spanish TV that is broadcast in general TV with almost 80%, as we said, vis-a-vis 15.2%, there's a Spanish TV, Spanish cinema in the competition. Channel 1 and 2 carry out the big effort in doing it in prime time. More than 200 screenings with a noticeable increase in Channel 1, which broadcasts most titles of Spanish TV, the most in 5 years, vis-a-vis the 48, which is broadcast by the competition. And the data reflects that our cinema is interesting more than 37 million spectators. 74% of the Spanish people have contacted with the broadcast of Spanish films. Apart from the 42 titles broadcast in September last year, they've led the prime time, 14 in lunchtime and prime time. Films like Que Baje Dios y Lo Vea, almost 13% of the share. El Maestro, The Promise to See, the El Correo Champions, all full of grace. These are shows that we are the main driving force of Spanish films. Films is one of our main DNAs, our characteristic that we feel especially proud, and it defines us as the main asset of public TV. Thank you very much to all of you.
Bueno, pues barbaridad.
Well, wow, incredible data, but you've got to defend it, but then you've got to do your homework. Let's go with the film that we have to see this evening, La Tregua. We're going to see it in the Victoria Eugenia, and we have the crew, Miguel Ángel Vizbas, director of La Tregua. I think you can come up to the panel. César Bretín, Miguel Herrán, Aaron Pipa, Javier Pereira, José Pastor. It's a film which is a war film. Talk to us about the context. It's a film which is a war film. It's a drama. I think that we have to, in these three galas, each film is very different per se, and I think that this gives an approach, shows the diversity that we were working with in Spanish TV, not only in a festival, but a cultural level. We want it to reach the audience. We had a dramatic comedy with La Cena and a thriller with No Quedan Junglas. It's a story of humanity, survival, a drama that deals with issues in the current, in this political turmoil that we're living in, which is really, it talks about human dignity. I would like to highlight in La Tregua that the value of the production of the film, that we've always congratulated César and the Plano Plano team, because it's a spectacular film, how it's produced, and it has a great script from the outset, great direction by Miguel Ángel, and we want that profile of the film, just like the other two, that can be conjugate quality and box office. And we don't forget, we make films for citizens, for the citizens, and obviously we're aware of our objective or our goal or our cultural values as public service, but we've got to make films like this. That's it, the part of the story, history of our country to all the entire population. Miguel Ángel, hi. Welcome. Thank you. We want to sit down and have a tregua true as well. Imagine us wanting to see it with everyone. Tell us what it was like to shoot it, what it was like managing this cast of actors. More than managing them, they managed me quite a lot. The film is a film which is quite humane, and it's an ensemble piece, 10 characters. We tell the stories in the gulags, in the working camps over 10 years. It's very complicated, and what I say, we were very fortunate to have Aaron, Miguel, Fernando, José, Javier. Not only did they did a composition of the characters, which is incredible, but they did everything. They left everything. They gave their all. We created that camp, 4,000 square meters of gulag. And one thing we talked about a lot was 10,000 square meters. Well, 10,000 square meters. It's a bit larger even. And the thing was that they could live in it. They could live the experience. And they can. And what they surprised me is, and what they gave me as a gift, 10,000 square meters, you're saying. And how do you move in those 10,000 square meters? What? Don't you get lost? The good thing was that we built this, but we're in the real place. So therefore, we went much earlier, and I spent my day and day walking around in the camp, seeing the barracks, because it's another character. It's 10 years they spend there, 10 years. We're in that same background of the film. What was it like to get involved in these characters? Well, easy on the one hand, because being in location for 3 months, which is quite tiring, physically and mentally. There's a lot of mud, a lot of cold, very cold, but also we were quite, the group, actors as well as the rest of the crew. We went along. We were rowing in the same direction with the. We wanted to give it our all. It was easy to get involved and to get into that aura. Victoria, Victoria was called Siberia Gasteiz. We weren't at minus 40, but we were at minus 3 quite a lot. And the shoot was very tiring, physically and mentally. But nothing compared what they lived through at that time themselves. So I'm very happy to be able to give my voice to those stories. I imagine that there's a lot of work of researching. Yes, Mercedes, our art director, and Victor Luna, 500 documents and all the wardrobe. We use the real textile. I'm a bit of a maniac, as you can see. In the research work, the 2 years that I got involved in the job, I only read all of that information and all the documentaries and the books about gulags, all of these things. I tried to, everything in the gulag, I wanted to have read it. To get involved in the film we're talking about today, it's a story of the past is a story of the present. I wanted to give respect to those people who lived that period and went through this. The only way was being as faithfully, portraying it as faithfully as possible, as loyally as possible, not making a mistake, taking advantage that we've got the cast of La Tregua. If you've got any questions, we can take advantage and ask questions now. If there are any questions, no? Okay. Well, a big round of applause. Thank you. Stay here because just before we finish, we would like to pay tribute to dear colleagues of Cine de Barrio program of our company, that its 30th anniversary. Sergio Calderón, please come here, and our dear colleagues to come up. Macha Sosana and Inés Ballester. A big round of applause. There's a little video that we want to show you.
Podemos ver el vídeo, ¿verdad?
Yes, we can see the video now.
¡Venga, daos prisa! Familia, a callarse, que empezamos ya. Vamos a disfrutar de nuestro cine de barrio. Un clavel, rojo, rojo, clavel, un clavel. ¡Ole, ole, sí señor!
Y de ello como una loca, poniendo mi vida en él.
Estoy verdaderamente feliz por estar en televisión española.
Hablando de la jafa de Don Mendo.
La venganza de Don Mendo. Todas tus equivocaciones son puro arte.
Llegarán mis hijos, aquella vieja medalla, la del cordón renegrido.
No van a tener ustedes una Concha Velasco por partida doble. Bastantes tienen ustedes con una, ¿no?
Conchita pasa toda la semana asomada a la ventana.
El que enamora a las suecas te cambio por Gibraltar.
Buenas tardes, fanáticas y fanáticos de cine de barrio.
Con el cine aprendí que existen nuevas y mejores emociones.
¡Ay, qué maravilla! ¿Quién os viene a la cabeza?
Ya voy.
Fumando espero al hombre que yo quiero.
Esta es la prueba empírica.
Oye, cariño, creo que te has equivocado de prueba y de rana.
¿Nos puede dar cobijo? Mire nuestra condición.
La posada está completa. No hay ni una habitación.
Buenas tardes y bienvenidos a Cine de Barrio.
Yo crecí con Paco Martínez Soria.
Es que me emociona.
Muy contenta de estar aquí.
Que defendáis nuestro cine. Lo mejor está por venir.
Muchas gracias, equipo.
Tanto cine.
So much cinema, Sergio, and that has gone through The room in Cine de Barrio, I will briefly in the company of the marvelous team of Cine de Barrio. And what better context, what better framework than the San Sebastian Film Festival for the recognition of an emblematic brand of Spanish TV. Talking about the figures that show that Spanish TV is cinema, undoubtedly spaces like the history of our cinema, Versión Española, Atención Obras, and of the Cine en Barrio, shows our commitment to the public TV for our cinema, our films, and undoubtedly this space, which is celebrating this year its 30th anniversary, has become is an icon of the history of Spanish TV. We all have seen it on Saturday afternoons on Channel 1 and Televisión Española, a program for Channel 2, which had a lot of faces that now form part of our memory, and some of them are not here with us, that José Manuel Parada commenced, and now and present is taken by Inés Ballester, the well-known professional. Thank you, Sergio. Thank you to all of you for being here. I remember 30 years is a long time, but I remember having seen the films with my grandfather, my family, my mother played the piano in silent film. My father went to his parents to enter the films. It's in my blood, but that's the moment that I remember when Spanish films were left to one side. Being in Cine de Barrio was like begging forgiveness. But nowadays, it's a great tribute, undoubtedly, to Spanish cinema and Spanish films. My program, more than 1,000 invited guests, producers, artists, yes, Spanish cinema of every period. Excuse me to get involved. But first of all, thank you very much for this recognition. We're very excited. And I would like to point out that in these 30 years, the program has evolved due to obvious reasons, because the guests that we invited were the protagonists of those films, that for obvious reasons, some of them are not with us, as Sergio said. But I would like to point out the evolution, because Cine de Barrio is made up by a series of collaborators, men and women, who contextualize that cinema with a new look and perspective and with other eyes, and now also look at how we were, because film has always been a reflection of society, to see how we were, and on some occasions to not repeat some of those situations. Families have evolved, and Cine de Barrio is also a diverse family. We've become better, haven't we? Yes, I think we are evolving over time and developing over time. It's great that you're talking about that context, which is so necessary. Do we have, will this recognize the trajectory of this marvelous program that we broadcast every Saturday afternoon on Televisión Española? We want to thank the whole team that works for Cine de Barrio over these 30 years and for many more years. There you go. Please stand up and let's take a photo of this moment. I've just broken the award. This isn't symbolic, is it? Sergio, we provide Spanish TV with our grain of sand. Sometimes there's 1 million spectators. It's a successful program, and in the afternoons, practically all of these people, despite those moments that there have been of a lot of criticism, people, you're right, they wanted to see those films over these years. They continue wanting to see those films. And 1 million people, with all of the offer that exists, watching our program. And we're very tough. We haven't given in after 30 years, undoubtedly. Like Inés says, you're a key element. You're contributing to the best September of Channel 1 in the last few years. You bring about audience that would like these films time and time again. And I've already mentioned as spaces. I remember Cayetana Guillen Cuervo as well, that other space or program it. Public TV shows that we have Spanish TV for all tastes, for all personalities, and that's our support. That is going to remain. And also to the actors and directors, producers, who, when they visit us, they bring the best they have, the work they have, their profession in films. And then, I'm not sure, I remember Juan Mariner, who's come along so many times to Cine de Barrio. So what an honor. This person has recovered cinema. Or Anton García Gabriel, he's an author with so many programs, Spanish TV. So many young people that see a lot of Spanish TV films, and they talk about the collaboration of Spanish films with Mexico, with Italy, and they've left their footprint, and we're learning more and more. New people are coming into the audience, so thank you to everyone. A big round of applause. Please stand up so we can take a beautiful photo. María.
Pero machos, ¿qué te pasa hoy?
What happened today? You broke the award. Rose at the end, raising his hand as well. With flowers and with the award, it's been, with an accident and all. We can't miss anything in San Sebastian. See you this evening in La Trema. Thank you for being with us.